Perhaps the biggest problem in global virtual teams is freeloading, free riding, social loafing, basically members of teams not doing their share of work. We definitely get a lot of complaints about freeloading in X culture, and many professors may have an impression that it is a widespread problem. In reality, it kind of is not. So I have published a bunch of papers on freeloading, and I looked at statistics, freeloading statistics reported in studies. And so usually, depending on how you count, studies say that somewhere between 20 to 30% of the team members do not fully contribute to the team. So maybe not bona fide absentees, but at the very least do not meet the team's expectations. And we sort of had that same rate in X culture when we started the project 14 years ago, but we've instituted a bunch of different policies that reduced that number dramatically. Peer evaluations weekly, shared peer evaluations, coaching, threat of exclusion if you do not participate. And this is what peer evaluations look like today. So this is literally this week in the current project, but this is a very typical distribution we see pretty much each week. So this is on average what team members give other team members, excluding self-evaluations. So that's only what team members receive from others. So 1 is very bad, 2 is bad, 3 is okay, 4 is good, and 5 is very good. And as you can see, about half of the distribution is between good and excellent. In fact, the average usually is right around 4. Some weeks it's 4.1, 4.2, some weeks it may be 3.9, but usually it's about 4. So meaning that about half of the students are between good and excellent. And if you take okay as a cutoff, so then you see about, again, depending on the week, but anywhere between 80 to 85% would be between okay and excellent. Now we do have a long tail here in the sort of bad region. So, but if we use the 2 as a cutoff for like real freeloading, not doing anything, so below bad, so between very bad and bad, it's usually about 5%. So this week I calculated it was 4.7%. It's very typical. It's about what we see. Some semesters, some weeks it may be as low as 3%. Sometimes it goes all the way up to like 5, but never higher than that. So is it high? Is it low? Like this semester, for example, in the early track, that's about 80 students who are in that category, 88 if I remember correctly. So that means that there are about, like 80 teams that have 1 or maybe even 2 freeloaders. And for those teams, that's sort of a problem. At the same time, that's a pretty low number. I mean, in any human population, X-culture teams, corporate teams, any team you've been on, there is probably always someone who is not doing their share, who is not doing hard, not working hard enough. So the 5%, or even if you take below okay, like 15% in X culture, that's probably excellent. I mean, yes, it's bad that it happens, but it's probably as good as you might expect and probably better than what you would expect or see in other populations. Now, here is an extremely important insight. If you are a professor and a student comes to you and complains about someone on their team not performing, the worst thing you as a professor can do is to say something like this: "Oh, poor you, I feel so sorry for you. You are such a good student. You deserve a better team. Let me talk to the project administrators, complain about it, and make sure that we kick out that freeloader, free rider from your team. Because you're such a good student, you deserve to have good members on your team." Very bad approach. 2 reasons why it's bad. Second, I don't think we will be able to fix the problem right away anyway. And if you take pity on a student and promise to fix the problem and it's not fixed, the student will blame you. The student will not be happy with the project. The student will think that it's a bad project because he has a bad team, as you, the professor, told him. The correct and better way to respond to it would be this, saying something like this: I kind of feel sorry for you. I wish you had a better team, but at the same time, I'm not. The truth is that no matter how, what team you're on, there will be always someone who is not participating actively, not doing their work, or whatever other problems, too bossy, too shy, too talkative, who knows. And the whole purpose of X Culture is to give you a preview of what it is like to work with other people, especially in global virtual teams. And the challenges you experience, like with this student who is not participating on your team, this is extremely typical. It will happen every single time when you will be working in a team. So the whole purpose of the project is give you this preview, is give you, a sense, a taste of what it is like to work with humans, especially if they are in other time zones, in other cultures, have different ethical standards, different institutional policies. So I'm glad that you have it so that you can develop a better understanding, a better intuition, a better expectation, so that you know what to expect when you work in a team again in the future, and so that you can try different approaches to dealing with this problem. So try it. Even if you end the project with enemies on 5-6 continents, I will still be happy because X Culture is a journey. It's an experience. It's not a destination. It's not a test. So yes, contact the team member, try to work it out, but don't stress too much about it. If nothing works, if the team member does not improve his or her performance, that's fine. It's all about you having that experience. So the purpose of this project is not a trip to Disneyland to have fun. It is to receive a realistic, real-life preview of what it is like to work in global virtual teams and what you experience, and it's very typical. So don't worry about it, do your best so that you know how to deal with it better in the future. Now, for you professors, what I would like to add here is that sometimes we also get a wrong impression about how widespread the problem is. The students who are in this big block, whose team members do well, okay, well, excellent, they have no reasons to talk to us, the professors. It is the ones who were unlucky to have those bad team members who come to us and complain. And so I would have, for example, 50 students in my class. And at the end of each session, I would have like 3 students who come to me and say, Professor, someone on my team is not working actively. And so I hear about it every single time I have a lecture. Every time like 2-3 students come to me and talk to me. And I get an impression that it's a problem because the only thing I hear is these freeloaders. Well, the truth is that the other 48 students, 47 students, don't have that problem. They're doing fine. They have no reason to talk to me. And so that's those few problematic cases, typical problematic cases, that sort of talk to me and create an impression that every single team has this problem. Every single student has that problem. Whereas in reality, again, looking at the numbers, it's really not that bad. So again, it's important to look at the data before we start panicking, before we start, trying to help our students, because it's not that much of a problem in terms of how widespread it is. And even when it happens, I personally see it not as a problem. I see it as a learning opportunity. And if you present it like that to the students, they actually appreciate the project much more. They will appreciate you as a teacher giving them that experience, and they will actually learn much more.